Hello?
Yes, sir, we can.
Thank you. So as of now, right, we have seen, so I'm just going to repeat a little bit of what we did earlier. So you're all on the same page. One second, this is taking time. Okay, so we have seen how to create a tuple. We know how to check the type. So whenever you see this star, right, that means it's running. So the first one did not complete and I ran everything together. So let's give it a minute. So you have tried the assignments? Have you guys tried the assignments?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why is this taking time? This is running now. So we've seen how to create a tuple and we can check the type. We know how to index a tuple. In the sense, if I want to find out the third character, I can do that. Third value for that matter. In the same way, I can create a list, right? Which is using square brackets. So here, I can create a list like this. I can again same way like I did for the tuple, I can index and find out what is the value of each element in a tuple. Then we looked at creating a dictionary in terms of what you say. Can check the values, the keys, right? We've seen this, and if I want to get a particular value, the get command, right? I can use the get function rather method of the dictionary. And finally, we saw sets. So a set cannot have duplicate. So here I've entered multiple values of 5, but it takes only one. So I can check whether a set is subset, right? I see this option is subset of set 2. It gives false, so that is not the case. Okay, so we've seen all of this. Now we want to check, simply put, we want to check if we can do a if and for loop, right? We have to check that. The ask is over here, if I can check the if statement in a list in a tuple. So here, right, I see in my tuple, right, I have these elements. So how do I check that is I check it using if 2 in tup1. Okay, then print value from. Right? So this is how I do it. I just, whatever the value it might be, right? So let's say if my tuple has a string, okay, this is my tuple. I can easily check if a in tup2 a print value from, sorry. Okay, this is how I use a if statement with a tuple. In the same way, I can do the same thing with any of the other elements. Okay, the same logic. So if I have my list, right, if I have my list like this, I can again check if 2 in list int, right, so value is found because 2 is there in the list. I can change this 2 to so also, right. I can actually even write both of them together, if 2 in list and so in list, because both of them are present, then also it will tell me. Okay, so in the same way we can check this complete logic, right? For a list I have done that. I can check with the dictionary also. So if I want to find apple is there in the dictionary, if apple in dictionary value from, okay, and finally in a set also I can check if 2 in set 1 print. So can you quickly try this? It is pretty straightforward. Take a tuple or any list or dictionary, try for one of them. It is similar for all, so try for one of them. Create a list or a tuple and check the if there is a specific value found in that or not. So this is, let me just send this. You guys try this.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So now we're going to move to loops in this, right? In a, how do you loop through a tuple? But first, we can just try a for loop for printing the multiplication table for any number, right? Let's say I have a number j is equal to 20. Okay, I want to print the multiplication table. So can you try printing the multiplication table? That is for any number. I want to print the values of that number from 1 to 12. Like this. So I can do, so if I change this value to get that information. Did you get it?
Yes, sir. But like in a range, it will not take the last value,
Yes, it will not.
and it will automatically take the like first value, second value, and third value. We don't have to put I plus one and all that.
No. In for you don't need to put that. In while you'll have to put that. Make sense?
Just
So everybody got this right? So if now, right, if I want to create a, before I get into this, into the looping for tuples and everything, I just wanted to show you how to use a nested loop, right? I wanted to check the nested loop. Okay. So as of now, I have printed only the multiplication table for one number. Let's say tomorrow I want to print the multiplication table for n numbers. Okay, let's say from 2 to 12 or whatever that number may be. I want to print the multiplication table for all those numbers. Okay. So here, what we'll do, we are going to use a nested loop. So I'm going to change the value of j also. As of now, my value of j is fixed over here. So I'm going to change the value of j also now. So if I change the value of j for j in range of 2 to 20 int table J, and this has to be indented. Okay, if I don't indent this, right, what will happen is it will run separately. So if I don't indent this value now, it will just print multiplication table of j n times, and it's just going to print one value of the last value of j, whatever it took. Okay, but I don't want it this way. I want it to run together, which is why this has to be indented. So it indicates that this for loop is inside this for loop. Okay, the for loop of I is inside the for loop of j. That is what is telling me it is a nested for loop. So now when I run this, I am getting multiplication table of 2, multiplication table of 3, 4, till whatever number I give, right, it is going to give me that multiplication table. Got it? So can you quickly try this? I'm going to post this. Okay, so let me explain it this way. Alright. So the ask was that we want to, so we tried the, did you try this one? Did you get this? You understood this one, yes? Yes, okay. So now the ask is, instead of one number, right, I want to print the multiplication table for n numbers. I want to print it from 2 to 10, 2 to 20, whatever that number may be. So what I do, right, I write a, let me just clear this. So this output gets clear. So I have this. I want to change this j into a range. So I put it as for, I put another for loop for j in range of 2 to 20. And I do print. I'm putting the heading over here. If I just run this as is, right, what will happen is, actually it will not give me the expected output. It is printing this value, whatever, 19 times, right? Another 18 times, 2 to 29, 2 to 19. In order for me to actually pick the correct value, right, as of now it's taking it only for the last one and printing the multiplication table for the last one. The reason being, this is not a nested for loop. This is a separate for loop by itself. This is a separate for loop. This is a separate for loop. In order for this for loop to be nested, this or line, right, has to be indented. It has to be below this statement. Only then will it know that this is a nested for loop. So when I run this now, I will get the multiplication factor for all these elements. Got it? Okay. Uh-huh. So now we're going to try and loop between a tuple list or anything on all of these elements. Okay, we're going to try and do this. So in order to do this, we have, so we have a tuple, right? We have a tuple. Okay, and we have two tuples. Okay. So if I just write for I in tup1 and print I. So I don't need to write a range or anything. I'm just assigning for I in tup1, or the other way for I in, even for tup2, right? Print I. I am able to loop through all those values. So I'm just writing for I in this tup1. Understood? I am iterating through this tuple by using a variable for I in tuple. So it automatically getting an index, and I am able to print all the values.
Done, sir.
Okay, very good. The other way,
Sir, it's not showing me result.
can you show me?
Yeah. Can you
There
see,
is
sir?
a name tup1 is not defined. Did you define a tuple?
Yeah, I had
Where?
earlier.
Print it, na? Print it over here. tup1 at the bottom. Print.
Huh?
There is no tuple.
Okay. So it is here.
Is it 1 or is it L? It is 1. Can you,
One.
when did you run this? Today?
No, yesterday.
Must be that's why. It's not there in the environment possibly. So
Okay.
run that step again.
Okay. Mm. Mm.
Right. Anybody else getting an issue? See, the other way to do this, right, is I can use the length command. If I want to find out the length, I am using a variable L, length of tup1. Okay, and if I print this L, I know it is 6. Okay, there are 6 values in this. So I can loop it through this length for I in a range of 0 to L. Okay, and print I can do E2. See if this works. Yes. So I can use this length command over here to get the length of that particular tuple, and I am indexing it through the length. So it is from 0 to 6, 0 to 5, right? So that is what I am doing. I am indexing the tuple from 0 to 5. So last time, right, we had seen that you can index or find out a third value by using this, right? tup2 or the first value tup0. So I get that information like this, right? So this is what we had seen earlier. So I am just using that and looping it through the tuple. The easiest way is obviously just this for I in tup2.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, I did not understand what is the use of L in this statement.
So L, right? How many elements are there in this tuple?
6.
Right. So if I want to loop through all those 6, what can I do? I can use something like this. For I in this tuple, it will automatically loop through that. The other way is to, like we had seen that, you can print. I can actually do something like this. Okay, one second. If I do this, rather I'll write the print over here. Otherwise, the last one is it. So if I do it this way, right? This is also feasible, right? You understood this, right? I am
Yes, sir.
printing all the values from 0 to 5. But this is, so if I tomorrow, if I have a tuple with 100 values, I cannot write something like this. So I need to find out the length. I need to find out the length of the tuple. And I am changing this value of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is my variable. That is what I am doing over here. This length, right, is looping from 0 to 5. That is the purpose of this L. So I am changing the value of I from 0 to this length, whatever I got. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright. So let's try and do the same for a list. So I have a list, right, and I do for I in list. So I can loop through the list in the same way.
Sir, again, I'm not getting result for that L.
Can you show?
Yeah.
There is no bracket. There is a bracket after print. TUP1. You hard coded the value 1, not L, in the range. No, in the range for I is equal to, for I in range 0 to 1 you have given, not L. Hello?
Sir, it's one only.
It should be L, na, not 1.
Acha, it's okay.
Okay. Can you go on mute?
Oh, sorry.
We tried it for a loop tuple, we tried this in a list. We can do the same thing for a dictionary also. This is my dictionary. I do for I in take one int I. So I have this.
Sir, in this case, it will only print the keys, right? Not
Yes.
values.
Yes. Just the keys, not the values. If you want the values, you can print for I in. So here I get this. I can print it both ways. I can print I comma this. Okay.
Got
Okay. Everybody got it? So in the same way, right, I can loop through a set also. So I have this set for I in set 1 print I. Got this? Did you guys get this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, right, we're going to do something which is called as a break and a continue. Okay. So here, right, I want to print, let's say in this dictionary, I want to print only till pair, or if I get the word banana, I should stop printing. Okay. So here, right, there is something called as a break statement. Right over here, if I equal to banana, then write the word break. So what it will do, right, it will break the loop. It will come out of this loop. So if I run this, right, I have after banana it's not printing anything. So it is printed till banana, and after that it's not printing anything because it came out of the loop. That is what we call is a break statement. But let's say what I want to do, right, I don't want to print banana, but except for banana I want to print everything else. Okay, so I can do it this way. I can write a continue statement. So if I write continue over here, it will not serve the purpose. So I need to move this continue before the print statement. And now if I run it, right, what it does, the continue, it goes back to the loop. It will not execute what is below the continue statement in this loop. So that is the difference between a break and a continue.
Sir, can you copy paste the dictionary part because it's not in my.
This one.
No, sir. Like where you defined the dict one.
Okay. For continue, right, when I'm saying continue, what it does, it will check the value of I. Okay, whether it is banana. If it is banana, it does not go to the next line, it goes to the beginning of the for loop. In terms of break, right, what it does, it comes out of the for loop itself. It will come out of the for loop. Understood? Understood? Who was? Yes, it will give all values except for banana, because it's not going to the print statement on the next line. It goes to the beginning of the for loop. So whatever is the processing, it will stop over there. Anybody got this?
Sir, the continue one I did not get.
Can you show me what you did not get? I mean, you did not understand what it is, or you did not get the output?
The output.
Okay, see. So can you show me? What is I equal to banana? Hello? What is I equal to banana?
So you also put that, no?
But what did I put before that?
Uh, I don't remember.
Where do you use I? What is the output of I equal to banana? See your line 31, what have you done? There is no if statement only over there. That has to be if, right?
Oh, it's this. Okay.
If I equal to banana break. So what has happened over there, right? The loop has broken only on the first value, irrespective of whatever is the input. So if I equal to banana break,
Okay. So, but now it's not giving me an output.
there is the statement complete. If equal to banana क्या होता है? If I equal to banana क्या हो गया?
So others.
अरे see,
Uh,
what you're doing is you either writing I equal to banana, or you're writing if equal to banana.
the I equal to.
अरे if I equal to banana ना, if statement किधर है?
If I. Okay. But now. Okay.
Where is the colon in the end?
Okay.
The break has to be indented.
Hmm.
Now run.
Okay.
So the same below also you have to change.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So we saw that. We are okay. So I believe others have also joined. So we are just doing a quick revision. So we'll talk about. So who all are there? Yeah, almost everybody is there, right? So we are going to quickly talk about writing a function. Okay. So we so when I write a function, right, I use the word define, and I write, let's say, I define a function print val. I say print hello, this is my first function. Nothing happens because what I have defined is a function. So if I look at any idea what all functions we have used till now, yes, print is a function. So you're right. Even this, whatever written, right? We are creating our own function. So if I want to call this function, what I do, I just write print val, and it will print this function, print whatever this function is doing, right? It is processing whatever this function is doing. So this is a very basic and simple function that we have defined. Okay. So here now I have now let's define another function which is going to add two values, right? So add val, and I'm going to pass two parameters over here. So what do is I write a comma b, and I write print a plus b. Okay, I have defined this function. So I have to pass a value. So I have to pass two values, 100 comma 293, whatever, and it's going to print those two values. So what I did, I passed two values a and b, and I am printing those values. I mean the sum of both of them. Can you guys try this if you haven't till now?
Got it, sir.
Okay. So now, right, we are going to use something called as a return function. So let's say if I write a function to check odd even value, odd even, and I'm going to pass a value a. So I will do if a percentage 2 equal to 0, and print
So that percentage gives us remainder.
yes, percentage gives reminder. So I'm not going to print, I'm going to do return even, else return odd. This value, right, is this function is returning a value. Okay, so instead of printing it, it is giving me that value. So I can actually store that value in a variable also if I want to. So now if I write odd even and I pass the value 9, it gives me odd. If I pass the value 8, it gives me even. So I can actually store this value in a variable, and if I print where, it will give me that value. So this return is giving me an output from the function. Everybody got this? Did you guys try this? Okay. So since everybody is there, right? We'll talk about something called as object-oriented programming. I'm not going to dwell a lot of it. Uh, I'm not going to get into too much details of that because it is a subject by itself. It's more in terms of how do you write a program. It's more in terms of structuring a particular program, right? So what I am doing, you have classes and objects. So in real world, right, you have a car, you have a building, you have dogs, animals, cats, whatever it is, right? They are real world objects. In terms of classes, right, classes has two things. It has a property in terms of a phone. That is, what is the color of the phone, what is the cost, what is the battery life. That is the property of the phone. The behavior is what are you doing with that phone, right? You're making calls, you're watching videos, playing games. And objects are instances of a class. That is, I have a phone which is telling me that these are all the 10 properties of this particular of a phone. And the instance of a class, it means that it can be an Apple phone, it can be a Samsung phone, it can be an LG phone. Make sense? And each of these phone has a general property and general behavior. Does this make sense? In terms of a very basic concept that a phone, right? So if I look at all the students, right, each student has a height, weight, age, gender. Each student has some of them. So what is that? Those are all your properties. Your behavior is, do you speak in class? Do you do your assignments properly or not? That is what is called as your property and kind of your behavior. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are going to try and see what we do. What do we do? So we create a class phone. And in this we define a function, define make call. So there has to be a value self, which is indicating that you're calling this. Okay. It is calling the same function. This is supposed to be there. So I'll just one minute print make call. Okay, this is a class. I have defined this class. So how do I assign this class? Right? So I need to assign this as a variable. So I say a. So let's say if I say apple is equal to 4. Now if I type apple, right, it is a it's telling me this. And there is a, if I type dot, and I can do this make call. If I call this with the bracket, just giving me this. One second. I have not defined it properly. So I have to define it this way. And now if I run it, it will run. Okay. So I need this open close bracket over here. Alright. So here I am defined a class which is making a call. In the same phone, right, I can actually define other function. It's like you inherit certain properties from your parents, your eye color and everything, right? That is what we are having over here. So I can define add color self. This is a little complicated, so but don't dwell on it that much at this point of time. So here I am just adding a print statement for the cost. I do this, so I can add a color. Okay, I have to pass the value. So if I say green, and if I say add cost, and if I now say apple dot show color, yeah, I don't need to do this actually. This, give me a minute. It should work. Yeah. What have I done wrong? Sorry guys, 1 second. Yep, I forgot to put this. So let me try this again. I am defining a class. In this class, I have defined specific functions. So I know this is going to be a little complicated if you don't know any, if you don't have any idea of programming in terms of object-oriented programming. But here, right, I am creating a class and I am defining certain parameters for each of these classes. For this phone can have specific properties in terms of color, in terms of cost. Okay, to show the cost, what I do, right, I first assign a color to this particular phone. I can assign a cost to this particular phone, and over here I am showing the cost and showing the color. So here I did, when I define a class, right, to assign it to a variable I need to write it like this: apple equal to phone. If I want to add a color to it, I can add the color using this function which I defined. If I want to add the cost, I can again add the cost using this function. And over here, apple dot show color, I'm showing the color. If I want to show apple dot show cost, it will show me the cost. Did you understand what I did, or was this over the head?
Understood, sir.
Here, right, let me first repeat this aspect. in terms of object oriented programming, right? Most of the programs, right, what is the requirement is you should not kind of you should primarily reduce your lines of code. Okay, it should be very simple to understand, or rather it might not be so simple to understand, but it should be very compact, which is where there is a concept of object oriented programming. So here, right, we are talking about real world objects which are there in terms of cars, in terms of a dog, in terms of building. Each of these can be represented in terms of classes and objects. So class is, right, it is a template of the real world entities, and each of these can have a property. So if I have a phone class, right, this phone can have the property of a cost in terms of the battery life, etc., the color of the phone, and the behavior would be to make a call. What is the purpose of that particular phone? Is to make a call, to watch videos, to play games. So objects are instances of this class. So here, right, I have a Samsung phone, I can have an LG phone, I can have a Nokia phone, I can have a Geo phone if anybody is using that, or an Apple phone. I know most of you, quite a few are using Apple, but yes, so that is what it is. So each phone has a property, each phone has a behavior of its own. Okay, so here what I did was I created a class phone. In this class, I defined certain functions: make a call, add the color, add a cost, show the cost, and show the color. Okay, so this is what I tried to do. So after having done this, right, I can call each of these functions, but in order to do that, first I need to define this value. So now I can write Samsung. I can write Samsung is also equal to a phone, and I can add Samsung, the color of Samsung. I can write Samsung dot add cost. I can add the cost also. And now I can print. So what this does, right? If I would not have used this logic, if I would have not used this concept, right, of object-oriented programming, what will happen is I will have to write these statements again and again. That the color, I'll have to define variable that the color for Apple phone is XYZ, the cost for this Apple phone is XYZ, what is the features. But once I have defined a class like this, right, I can call this for any variable over here and assign that value. So it becomes easier. The structure is same for all of them from a programming perspective. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this was, so you can take time to uh, check these assignments, right? I don't think you would have got time to do these assignments till morning today. So you can try these, and we will move to today's activities. So give me a minute. Just give me a minute. I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm back. Let me just save this.
So can you show the code for the previous one, the phone one?
Yeah. So on the OneDrive, right, I have these 4 folders. So here the Jupyter files are there. Whatever we are doing, right, I am going to store it over here. There is a day-wise plan kept over here, whatever we are doing. That is the PDF files. You can check those. And these assignments, right, what I would want you to do is create a folder for each of yourselves, and whatever assignment you complete, right, just put it over there in terms of the home assignments that you have tried this. You can keep the Jupyter file over there. So create a folder with your name over here and put those uh, files for day 1 assignment, day 2 assignment. Just keep them over here. Okay, so should I quickly repeat these elements, how we use if, loop in tuple, etc.? Do you want me to do that? You guys good with that? Hello?
I think it's okay.
Okay. So that was who? Who was that?
Revati.
Yeah. So you were there in the morning now, so I'm asking the others. So are they good with that in terms of what we did yesterday? All right. So no response. All right. So let's start with this. So can you answer this question? What is a array? Do you know what is an array?
Sir, array is a set of similar objects.
Very good. So did we see any array till now? You saw a list, right? You saw a list.
Yes, sir. In the same thing where everything is there.
Yes. So this is an array. This is an array. Okay. Now this array, right, is probably slower as compared to some of the other arrays which are there. So there is a package in Python. There are a lot of packages in Python, external packages, right? People have developed some of those packages. So one of the most commonly used is Numpy, which is called numerical Python. And the arrays which are developed in that, right, are 50 times faster than what array Python, like the list is there, right? It is using. Okay, that is 50 times faster than what is there. So here, right, the first thing we need to do is import a package. Since if you have installed Anaconda, this package automatically gets installed in terms of NumPy, and then there is another one which is called as Pandas, that is automatically installed. Okay, so here I'm going to write a statement called as import NumPy as np, and I'm going to run this. Okay, it's taking time. Yeah, so I have imported the package. So normally, right, what happens is I can install a package. If you don't have a package, right, you need to install that package. So the best option to install a package is I can install the package here itself, but I don't prefer installing the package over from here. If you want to install the package from here, you need to write a specific statement like this statement. Okay. So you need to write this pip installed numpy. So can you guys first check if you have the numpy package? Can you run this and see if you don't get any error? Import numpy as np.
No error, sir.
Okay. So since all of you have installed uh, Anaconda, right? You will not get any error. But normally if I want to install a package, right? I go to, you get an Anaconda prompt over here. Okay, you get an Anaconda prompt. So like your command prompt is there, right? This is slow, but it will come up soon. You see this Anaconda prompt, which is an interface. Okay. So here, for installing any package, right, I should be writing, 1 minute, it is coming up. That statement over here, that pip install, whatever is there. Just give me a second. It's a little slow. Yeah. So here, right, I can write pip install numpy. I don't want to do that now, but if I press enter, right, it's going to install that package over here. Make sense? If I want to install any package over here, I should ideally go through this Anaconda prompt. There are multiple ways, but I prefer going through this Anaconda prompt. Okay. Make sense? Since we have done this import, right? So what we have done, right? So now I can actually define an array over here. So I write arr is equal to np dot, there is a function called array, and this can take a list and a tuple, right? I can give a list as well as a tuple in this. So I am going to take a list, run this, and if I type, right, I type arr, so it tells me it is a numpy array. Can you try this if you haven't? So this is the first bracket is the function ka bracket. This is the bracket of this np array. This is, I am passing a list. So I can also do arr dot this d type, right? If I print this, right, it is telling me that this array has all integers. This array has all integers over here. So first what we are doing, right, we were using the Python function of type. Now we are using the arr.dtype function of numpy. So it tells me that the data in this particular list is integer.
Sir, it's showing 32 in yours and it mine it's showing int 64. So it's 32 bit or 64 bit.
Yes.
Sir, can you just explain once what you did?
Yeah. D type is the data type. Like you have type, right? In is a function. The type function which you use in Python. That same function I can use in NumPy, but in NumPy it will give me the overall value. Now I want to check what kind of an array is that, right? So here when I did D type, it is telling me that this array is an array of integers. So the first thing I did, right, I can create another array. So I have to use the function numpy dot array. Okay, so which is why instead of importing after importing numpy, right, I have done is assigned this numpy to this variable np. I can use this np anytime. So in np dot array, okay, so this np dot array is the function I'm going to use. So to this I can pass a list or a tuple. So to pass a list, right, I am writing the value 1 2 3 4 5 like that. Or let's say if I pass all strings, let's say if I pass all strings, and if I print array 2, this is my array. And if I do arr2 dot d type, yeah, this is Unicode string. It actually means that each of these characters, this one indicates that each of these character is, the maximum length is 1. Now if I change this value, right, if I say ABC, whatever, and now if I check the d type, right, it gives me a value of 4. So this 4 is the maximum characters. The string has this 4 is what is the meaning of this 4, and this is Unicode string. Make sense? You might have a character. uh, what value have you given? Is there anything which is 11 characters? 11. Can you share your screen? I don't know why I'm getting 11. Let me try this from my side also. Because I did the same thing, no? One, two, three. Yes, 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 yes. It is mixture of string and yep. I'm also getting the same. It's probably because of the mixture of string and characters. And this one is stored in that way. If I use only string, it will give me the length of that particular string. Here it is giving me a mixture, which is why you're probably getting that number.
So, but in your previous example also, it was a mixture of list and a string.
No, these are all strings. These are all strings, no? Which is why it is giving me this 4, the maximum length. Here it is not giving me that because it is a mixture of integer and string.
Okay.
Alright?
Sir, I gave a mixture of strings and numbers. So the output is coming from.
What is coming?
So I'll just share.
ये तो अलग ही है. Okay, can you copy that? Can you copy that and share the code here? Because I got 15 over here. Let me just show. Here, right? I am getting the value U15. What is important in this U? It is Unicode. It indicates Unicode. So there are a lot of different types of elements as compared to the normal which we saw, right? Integer, float. There are a lot of other variables in NumPy. So I am getting this U15. I don't know why you are getting U1. Probably you. Can you try running that again once? Yeah. Yeah. So U15 is indicating this is the length, right? The Unicode string. This is the length of this would be 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is the length which is it's looking at. the maximum length. That is what is this U giving. Okay, so got it. So we're going to try and create a two-dimensional array. So we tried creating a single array. We're going to try and create a two-dimensional array. So in order to do that, right? So let's try this. There is a square bracket missing in this. I can actually check the shape of that array using array.shape, and it tells me it is a 2 by 5. 2 by 5. Am I sharing my screen or no? Yeah, I'm sharing. Okay. Can anybody else see my screen? No. It's actually sharing.
Sir, it's not visible what you're sharing.
1 second. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I was saying, we'll try and create a multi-dimensional array. So in terms of a multi-dimensional array, right? So I created, what I did was, so let me try this again, arr5 equal to np.array, the same function, open close bracket. Now I need a square bracket, okay, and I put 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. After this I put another square bracket and I put whatever 6 comma 7 comma 8 comma 9 comma, but in order for this I need to have another bracket at the end to indicate that this is a two-dimensional array. That is how you define it. You put one array like this, the other, and you have another square bracket outside of it. Just give me 1 second, I'll just be back.
जिस तरह अन्ना ने अपनी बीवी और बच्चे को जिंदा जला डाला, मैं भी उसे एक दिन इसी के घर में जिंदा जला डालूंगा।
Hello. Did you guys get that? Hello. All right. So let's try. So like with this, right? We created an array using a list. I can actually create an array using a tuple also. The only difference being, so here instead of the square bracket, I pass a round bracket. So I can still create the, I can still create the array. This is a array using a tuple. It's just the bracket is different over here. So there we were using a square bracket. Here I'm using this round bracket.
So, sir, in this what I did, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll just share my screen. So,
Yeah.
I'm not able to share my screen.
Give it a second, it'll come.
Yeah, gotcha. It's visible now.
It's coming. Yeah.
So if you look at input number 47,
Uh,
yeah, so there were two arrays, right? So in the one array there were total of 5 units, and in the second there were a total of 4 units. So sir,
hmm.
if the number mismatches, then the output comes like this.
Right. It will not give you the second value, right? Because the value is one is it is 5, the other it is 4. You're talking about array 5, right?
Yes, sir, input 47.
Yeah. Because the number does not match the number of characters, right? I mean the length, right? The first which you have written, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That has 5
Hmm.
values. The other has 4 values, which is why it's just giving you that particular shape. So if you change that array 5, right, make it put another value out of, after that, after 5, put another value. Now run, shift enter.
Now it's
Okay.
so when it will mismatch, it will not give the length. Otherwise, it will.
Yeah. What is the error? What is error dot tuple? Why is there a dot in that? Error dot tuple is expecting a function. When you put a dot like this, it's expecting that this is a function to call. See, it's saying na numpy nd array object has no attribute tuple. So you need to also now start to understand what error you are getting. So this dot cannot be there. So we understood how to create. So we have created a array using a tuple. We did try this array.dtype. There are a lot of actually there are 8 to 10 like this data types in NumPy. Okay, we have integer, boolean. So if we saw integer, right? So let's try and create a array. Array. Comma 0. If I try this and let's see what value it gets. This way. Here, right, I get the boolean value. I define true, false like that. So I was just checking whether it takes 1, 0 as true and false or not. Ideally it should. Let me try with the string also. So we saw string, right? We saw the string one we saw. Yes. So we need to do that again. Did you guys try this? Did you try the boolean one? So if I take float, right? So D type is telling me in this array what is the type of data that I have. Okay, this is so earlier, right? What we were using. So let me try this, right? So what we were doing, right? We created a list, right? List one. This was telling me the type of list one. Float is decimal value. भूल गया. Forgot. This 2.3, that is all decimal float. So right. So if I type, right, type of list 1 and 1 2 3 4 5 4. This gives me string. Type of list 1 and 1. This gives me integer. This is the type. That same thing in a NumPy array I can find out using D type. Actually, even I can do it in a different way if I want to. So I have ARR, right? I have my ARR flow, whatever, float. This is my array. I can index array in this way. So in the same way, like we index any other list or anything, right? I can index this array and find the first value. Now for this value, if I find type, in NumPy float 64, it tells me. It is telling me it is a numpy array and it is a float 64 value. If I take I'll have to there is a string. In this one, let's try. Numpy string. Making sense? This type is giving me the same thing. And if I want to check what are all the values in this array, right? I use array arr2 dot d type. So this is where it is telling me that this is the type of the string. Okay.
So what does the number 64 signify? Um, so there's
64 bit.
this.
64 bit.
Okay.
Your processor is 64 bit. That is, or whatever version you are using of that, no? Is 64 bit. Make sense? Okay. So we tried this. We created an array for indexing, like I said, right? So here, if I have, there is a multi-dimension array. This array tuple array file. This array file. So arr file, and if I do 0, it will give me the first value. If I want in this, if I want 0, that was 1 second. 1 second. The 32 which we got was when we type for this value. Right? So I did not use the type function over there. I was using something else, right? I was using d type. I'm using array this. This is giving me integer numpy 32. It's giving me the same output. When I type arr bool dot d type, it is still giving me the same thing, integer 32. That the what we are getting was a float 64. Understood? Or did we get somewhere else 32? Okay, so I am using the type function. There are multiple ways of doing this. So I have this variable, right? Array boolean, right? So it is telling me first thing I use type. It is telling me it is a numpy array. That is correct. If I use type on a particular value of this array, so I want to check what is the type of this first character, first value. So I type this value of, I index the array. So it is giving me numpy dot integer 32. Does this make sense till now?
Yes, sir.
So if the 64 was coming for the float, right? The 64 was coming for float 64. So if I in this value, right, array float, if I type float, it is going to give me numpy array. Okay, it is an ND array of numpy. That is what it's telling me. Now if I check the type of arr float for any value which is there, that is telling me that the first value it is numpy and it is a float variable of 64. What is important is this float, not the other number whatever you get at this point. Got it? Float is different than integer.
So, sir, the number doesn't matter whether it's 32 or 64.
That is 32 bit basically it's telling you, right? So if I look at it, right? 32 versus Let's see what it tells us. Yeah, 32 byte integer 4 bytes and 64 is 64 bit integer 8 bytes. Okay, so it can take this maximum 2.147 billion and it has max of 9223 with a lot of zeros. Makes sense. The difference is the size of the variable. The 32 takes this value minus 32768 to plus 32768. Got it? So integer 16 32 like this. There is a range based on the value, right? Based on that value it takes a specific range of numbers. Unless you're going to use a very large number, it matters if it is 32 bit or 64. This is what is the answer. So this integer 32 takes values between so and so. Integer 64 takes values between this big number to this big number. How many zeros is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 9 with 18 zeros. Think of that. What is the value? 18 zeros. Yeah, quintillion. 9 quintillion is the range. Make sense? Plus or minus 9 quintillion. Does that answer your question? It is the basic. It basically the capacity. What is the size of the variables it can take? So if I assign a value, right? So let's say I assign a value of this. Okay, let's try that. If you want to do that. So it still takes that value. I don't know why, but yes. And let's check the type. Let's take it in the array. Okay, let's take it in the array. Now it gave me 64. Got it? Based on the size, it is giving me 64 now. Earlier it was giving me 32. Understood? Where? This one? See, what should I search for? INT 32? So this value, right, I got type as INT 32. When I increase the size, right, of the variable, of the value, it became INT 64. You want to see float? Very good. Float 64. Here. Can you show your screen? नहीं उधर रन ही नहीं हुआ है, नीचे लिखो, इधर लेफ्ट में लाइन नहीं है ना. See, there has to be a number over there. When there is no square bracket on that line, right? This is just like a text. So just copy that down in the below line and then run it. जो ARR float D type है, right? Just copy it in the next line. So if you increase the uh, range, then float number will change. Got it? You are also getting INT 32. Got it? Understood? No.
Yes, sir, I got it.
Okay. So yeah, if you increase the range, then the float number. I mean, if you increase the number value, then the range will should automatically change also.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So we saw this. Now let's look at some functions. Okay, let's look at some functions. So we saw this indexing, right? We saw how to get the shape. Then we created a string of complex float should be this one. So if I have a list, let's try that. Complex plus 3j plus 8j. Complex. Getting the same. I'm getting complex 128. Let's look at an example. 1 minute. So you understood, you remember what is complex, right, in list? Yeah, I'll come to that date and time. 1 minute. So for date and time, right, I need to get the date time 2002. So it is y mmdd 02 2010. Why is this? I actually tried this the other day also. I tried the same thing. Why is it not giving this way? 1 second. Okay, I have to write this. Yeah. So this is, yes. Yeah, right. Yeah, date time. So when I get date type as m, now if I type this, it becomes date time. If I print this also, right, it will tell me that date time 64. So if I want to force it to be a particular type, right, I do this. So let's say if I type it for here, What is the value? C, right? Let's take this. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, I have not seen this, but it should come this way. I've never tried a complex float, by the way. If I make it float, what will happen? But you understood date time? Did you understand date time? Yes. So why it is showing as a very different value? Still showing it as string, by the way. I am not sure why it should show it as string when I have given a complex value. That's weird. I'll have to try this. So let me try this. I will get back to you on this one. The complex float.
So I did not understand the type of the date that less than M8.
So M is the uh, in this, right? The end data types in NumPy are like this: I, B, float.
Okay,
So this M indicates date time. There are a lot many other, actually. There are around 10 or something like this. But I just kept the simple ones.
okay,
So that M indicates it is date time. So if you have an array of date, right? Otherwise, see, if I didn't give that D type equal to this, right? If I didn't give the D type is equal to M, it was not taking the value. Without this, if I did this, it was taking it as a string. It's taking it as date time.
okay. So and what does D mean? The in square bracket?
I have no idea what it. I'm assuming it is date. So if I change this, right? Let's say if I change this to colon n 10 10 11 10 has to be a time value, right? One second. That time has to be shown in a different way. 3. Okay. This S is telling me that it also has time, is what I understand. See, earlier without the time, right, it was only showing this. So let's say if I try this, it is telling me there is time in this also. I think that is what this S means. And the D indicates there is just a date. Got it? So don't dwell too much on the data type rather than more in terms of what I'm going to do with this data. We just need to know how to create an array with date time or with time for that matter. Let's say if I have just value, Yeah, so I am not able to create just time, it needs date time. So is there a time variable? So to complex float, I will check how to create that complex float. So I'm just checking whether this is okay t. If I just want time, I'll have to check that. I just wanted to create time. So I will check on that complex variable, complex float, and how to create a just a time variable if I want to create it. Okay. I will check on this one. Understood all the other aspects? So let's say if I want to create a array with all zeros. Okay, I want to create a new array with all zeros. So I write array zeros. Dot. So if I type tab, right, I see zeros. And I give this. So it is giving me this value. If I want to assign all zeros to a 2 by 2 array. Understood? To initially assign a array, right, in your program, if you want to, you might get data which is in a file and you want to put it in an array, and it might be that one row has 3 columns, the other row 3 values, the other row does not have, has only 2 values. So you want to assign something initially, so which is why you can assign all of them as 0 initially. Make sense? So in Excel, right, when I have this data, right, if something is missing over here, it becomes blank. Instead of keeping it blank, I can assign all of the values to 0 in the beginning, and so this value will become 0. It will not be touched, right? So it will become 0. Okay. In the same way, right, I have a function where I can assign, instead of 0, I can assign a specific value. So I can do np.full. I give 2 by 2 again, and I put 7. I'm assigning the value 8 to this array in the beginning. So if I do like this, get this. 6. So I can create a array with specific values.
So this is always used to fill the missing. If we have a data which has some missing, this is always used for this only.
No, this is one purpose of that. You can actually many a times you'll have to assign all values, right? It's like initially I have a constant variable. If I have a constant, right? Constant is something that is not going to change. That is where I use these functions, these methods. How do I manipulate this? If I want to add 8 to all of them, or if I want to add or multiply anything with them, right? That is where I am assigning these values to that. So like I said, right, unless we write a full-fledged program, you will not know what to use where. Practically you will have to write a complete program to understand what am I going to do with this. You will not use all of these functions, you will not use all of these methods everywhere.
Okay.
But you need to be aware, like in Excel you have so many different functions, you're not using all of them, right? There are so many different functions to sum, subtotal, but you don't use all of them, but you use it only when you require to use it. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
in the previous one, the NP full one, in that what was the use of three? Three
This,
rows like that.
yeah, 3 rows 6 columns.
Okay.
The other one is, right, I want to create an array of, let's say I create an array of I want to create an array using random some values. So let's try this array with skipping values. Okay, np dot arrange. I want to start from 1 till 100, and 3 I am giving this value 3. Okay, so when I print this, right, I am getting the values starting from 1. I am adding 3 to it, 3, then 7, then 10, 13, 16, 17, 22, like that. So if I want an array of all odd numbers, let's try this. So I have all the even numbers from 0 to 100, excepting 100. If I change this to 101, I'll even get 100.
Sir, I'm getting error for input 2 and
Can you
2.
share this link?
Yes, sir.
Can you share? That
2
arrange
R
has
is
only
there
one.
in a range.
Arrange has only one R.
So this one?
Yeah, arrange has only 1 hour.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So if you have any doubt, right? If you go, can you go back to that? Yeah, type over there np dot on the next line, right? Take another array, ARR 2, 3, whatever that is, equal to np dot type a. No, type a नहीं, मतलब सिर्फ a लिखो उधर ऐसे. np dot a and press tab. No, you should see actually a list coming up. You don't see a list coming up.
No, sir.
So I'll just show you what I was saying. Let me share my screen for a minute.
Yes, sir.
See my screen?
Yes, sir.
When I press tab, right, I get this pop up like this, where I can see this. Where do I scroll down? When I press tab, right, I get all the values, all the different functions which are there. So here I am using 1, comma. Does everybody else get this? Do you get this? When you type np dot and I press a tab, do you get a pop up like this?
Yes, sir.
So I didn't understand what Reti, when you say you are getting a variable, what does that mean?
Sir, so if I type ARR1 is equal to NP dot A, then tab, then it gives me the variable that I put, that is ARR1.
I don't know why. It work actually. Zero, 1, 0. Yeah, can you do one thing? Can you press escape in the cell, right? Press escape and then try. Do you get that? np dot. Okay, we'll have to check how. I'll have to check how to enable this. I didn't do anything specific actually.
So even I'm not getting when I'm doing np dot, I'm pressing tab, I'm also not getting it, sir.
Okay, it has to be something related to this keyboard shortcut actually, because here, right, the tab is has a particular meaning. Okay, so instead of here, right, let's press enter. Can you share your screen? Let me just try that. You're sharing a screen. Whoever is getting it, I think a couple of people are talking, right? You only share Reti. Yeah. You press tab, nothing happens. Okay, press escape. Now press enter. No, वैसे नहीं, क्लिक नहीं करो, माउस से नहीं करो. See, go to that help, right? Go to that help. Click on help. See keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, right. Command mode. Press escape to enter. And if you go down, right, where there is a tab, press enter to enable. Right. So you have to be able to enable this code completion or indent. That is why the tab is coming. You see, edit mode. Press enter to enable. So you have to enable that. That is what I am trying to say. So on the line, right, don't click on the cell, click outside on the line. Yeah, now press enter. Now go backslash, go back, backspace rather. Now press dot, press tab. You get anything? No.
No, sir.
Okay, let me try that separately. I'll let you know. So coming back, so we saw this function arrange. So let's try this random number. np.random array using random numbers. Okay. Yeah. So this is giving me a random number between these two values. What do I do with it? Can you try this? So you're getting only one number as of now. So if I don't give anything, right, I'm getting only one number. So now if I do 10, and if I type this, I get 10 values, an array of 10 values of random numbers. So for float, So you need to have another function in NumPy. Let me check. There. I got float. So इसका arguments अलग है थोड़ा सा. I think the arguments are different for this random.ran. So yeah, right. Here I am getting an array which has 10 values, which is a float number. One-dimensional array. I mean, there are other packages also here, right? Yeah, for that. So here I'm just getting this. If I just put 5 instead of all these parameters, if I just put 5 also, if I just put 10, I'm getting a random number. What the answer? Alright. Let's try this. We'll add two arrays. I have AR1 is equal to I want to sum them. So I use the function np.sum AR1 and there is another variable axis equal to, so if I do this right, let's see what happens. So I am summing these values 1 plus 6, 2 plus 7, 3 plus 8, 5 plus 9. If I change the axis right to 1, so what did I do? I sum the values like this: 5 plus 3 plus 2, 10 plus 1, 11, 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9, 30. So I sum the values like this, or I sum the values like this. So this axis defines should I sum the values horizontally or should I sum the values vertically. Got it?
So what is the role of axis here?
It tells me whether I should sum the value horizontally or vertically. So if the axis is 0, right, it was summing the value like this: 1 plus 6, 2 plus 7, 3 plus 6, 3 plus 8, 5 plus 9. Else it was summing the values like this, and it was giving me a new array. Now there is another, we want to join arrays, right? You want to join arrays using some values. Okay. Join an array using some values. So I want to join these two arrays. I have two arrays already, right? AR1, AR2. So I say AR then J is equal to stack AR1 over, this is right. This horizontally I join them. What happens is I get 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 5, and at the end I get 6 7 8 9. So I have joined that. And if I do AR VJ is equal to NP dot B stack. So I created an array like this. So that's AR VJ dot shape 2 by 4 and VJ HJ by shape. This is 8 by 1. So there is another way in which I can stack the columns, the vertical stack, right, which you have. when you're looking at VStack, right? There is another way. There is a slight difference in that. I don't want to get into the technical aspects of it, but in order to do that, we can do np dot I see something like this. Okay, so here, right, when I merge these like this, it made it this way. There's a slight difference in that column stack versus this. So I got 1 6 2 7 3 8 5 9, each of them in a stack, in a column. So like this, right, there are a lot of functions in NumPy. Obviously, the more you practice, the more you'll understand it. So let's try this one more. One second. One minute, I'm just checking what parameter the base type is. That only. What made it string? So what I've done, right, I've used this function as type, okay, and I've converted this number into a string. Many times what will happen, right, you have data which is in a string format, you need to convert it into a number format. When you have data, you need to convert that into a string or a number into a string or whatever that might be, right? That is where you use these functions, that you convert it into a string. So here I have converted this into a string, and I can even try and convert it into, let's say, float. So we made this way. So I type this. I have converted this data, right? I have a data of numbers. I want to convert all of them to strings. So I have a function, okay, as type, which takes these type of variable. So here I pass the variable type as string, and it converted all these variables, all these values in this particular array, right, as string. That is what is happening over here. So if I print int, right, and here I print this. So first I'm getting all numbers, and I've converted these numbers into a string. So each of these is a string. What I did, okay. So you can even convert it into boolean. So let's try that. If I have a array of values 1 0 0, if I have this array and I type it as, yeah, so it took the value 1 as true, 0 as false. Basically it'll take any number which is more than 0 as true. So if I change this number, right, to instead of 1, I change this, or rather I change this 0 to 10, and I run this, right. So the last value became 2 because it is more than 0. We can even try it for, let's try what happens for those numbers, right. 0.7. So any value which is more than 0, it is taking it as true. Any questions till now, guys? Did you try this? Did you get this? So let's say I have an array, right? Let's say I have an array. Array. and I give 20 values. Also, so we have 20 values in this array. Okay, now I want to structure this, reshape this array. I want to convert this into the function called arr 0 dot reshape. I assign this to another variable, reshape, and I do 2 comma 2. Bye bye. Bye. क्या ये मजाक है? कल तो किया मैंने. Reshape. Yeah, it should work. How many characters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not good. What is this? मजाक है. ये ट्राई किया तो चलेगा, तो क्यों नहीं चला? What is important, right, is these numbers should match in the sense, right? So if I print this length, I have 12 values over here. So 2 by 2 by 3. So the number should come to a total of that value. Okay, 2 by 2 by 3 when I'm saying. And if I print this value of, so you see 2 by 2 by 3. So this 2, this is 3 values, right? So 2 by 2, an array of 2 by 2, and 3 values in each of them. So that is what this is meaning. Okay, that number should match. So I'm not able to match this over here, which is why I'm getting an error over here. So let's say if I take this and then 12 के लिए चल रहा है, पर उसके लिए क्यों नहीं चलता है? Let's try that. Okay, let me try that. Very good, thank you. So what is important is about that. What is important is if you want to reshape, right, you should know, not that I've used this every day, but if you want to reshape these values, then you should have this right connection, which is why I was actually trying 2 by 5 by 2 should also work. Yes, that number is making sense. And 2 by 2 by 5 work. इसको पहले क्यों नहीं चला, तूने क्या करा था गलत? Right. So the total value should come together. 2 into 1 into 10 is 20. So let's see. If I change this to 3 into 3 into 3, right, it will give me an error. It will not take that. Into 4. Right, chalega? Yes, got it. So this multiplication of all these 3, right, should come to the total length, is what I understand. If you want to reshape it, by the way. Understood? Thank you for your inputs, whoever that was. I don't know the name. Half of the name don't come over here. Was that Mithil or who was that? Who's this FB589?
No, sir, I am not there. Actually.
Arpita. Okay, thank you very much. Right. Coming back to the last few steps. Okay. Now, so you've done the reshape, right? If I have an array like this, right? If I have an array, new array. Now we have this new array. Okay, which is this. So I'm going to send this to you. You have this new array. Okay. You have this new array, right? I want to flatten this array. In the sense, we have converted this into a this 20 characters into this array, right? Into whatever structure we wanted. We reshaped it. But now we want to convert it back. So we create old array is equal to new array dot reshape. We use the same command and we put -1. And when I print this, right, it gives me the information back into the old format. So I'm flattening the array basically. Understood this? Did you get this reshape?
Sir? Sir, when I tried doing that, the numbers are different this time. Yes, sir.
No, can you, what was the original ARR 021?
So the same as you sent to this one.
No, what was ARR 020? What was ARR 020? Can you print?
So 020 was this.
Can you
Oh,
print it again? Can you print ARR 020 once? Go up. 94, 91. Yeah. And what is ARR? Can you print ARR? आपने ARR लिया है, ARR print करो. This is your ARR which you had. जो आपने reshape किया है वो इससे किया है, तो
oh,
कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ा आपको actually में.
okay, sir.
Got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Everybody got this? Understood reshape, right? Now, before we get into this iteration, I'll show you one small thing. In this array, right, I want to get only the even numbers. Okay. What I can do, in this square bracket, right, I can write this function like this, that get me the values only where the remainder is equal to 0, and I can assign that to another variable. I can even change it, make it instead of remainder, right, I can even change it to divide by 2 equal to 0. 0 तो आएगा नहीं किधर से, तो इक्वल टू all that way. So you can write any function, right? You can write a small calculation over here to filter out your data. You understood what I did? I did a very small thing. Let's send this. Any questions till now?
Sir, how long will the class go?
5 minutes. We need to just show how to iterate an array. Like we have seen like a list, right? So you have ARR1 like this. So in the same way for I in ARR1 print. So I have the same thing. I get the same output. The looping is the same way. This is a one dimension array. So if I have ARR2, what is ARR2? Right? So if I take ARR4 dot shape, 2,5. So here for I in ARR4, if I do print I get these values. I get 2 prints because this is also another list, right? So what I do for I in ARR4, for j in I, I input a code. So now I get all the values in the array. Understood what I did? I have used, like we had done for list or for tuple, right? For I in the list, for I in tuple. In the same way for I in array. When I do that, I can print this value. So if I have array ARR1 like this, I can print it this way. And your array 4, which is a 2-dimension array, the shape is 2, 5. So I did for I in ARR4, for j in I can print that value. If I want, I can print I, j. So I'll know this is of which particular line. Make sense? Do you want me to paste this code? one was any questions, guys? We've covered quite a lot today. So unless you practice, it will be difficult. So this is mean value. Yes, looping, iteration. By the way, this is mean value, not mid value. I will correct that. So any questions, guys? You understood this iteration? Any doubts from anybody? Please try the assignments. Alrighty. So I request you to try the assignments. Those are very basic assignment, by the way, and I'll try to see if I can send some more assignments till whatever we have done. We've done quite a lot up till now. So next time we're going to do pandas. Okay, so that is another package wherein we are going to learn about data frames, if I'm not mistaken, data frames and stuff. How do I read a file and everything? And after that, we'll be looking at some, what do you say, graphical representations of data in terms of pie charts and stuff, right? So we'll see how you can use Python packages to represent the data. All right. But I would still request try and revise whatever you've done till now, because that will only help you, really understand what to do with whatever information you get. And I'll try and send some more programs for you to try as an end to end till whatever you understood till now. Okay. Yeah, I will have time only on Sundays. I will not have time on Saturdays because my lecture. So I wanted to do this because now we've completed kind of 4 sessions. There are only 4 which would be remaining practically. So Sundays we'll figure out what time it's going to be, because I don't know what the lectures schedule is going to be for everybody. Otherwise, we'll plan 2 sessions if required. Okay. All right. So Bharat, do you guys have lecture on Sundays?
So still we are not aware of the schedule, but the
Okay,
moment
because
I got clarity.
my lectures are going to be on Saturdays, so not on Sundays. But depends on what time you guys have lecture and what time we can plan this. Okay, so let's figure that out once you guys get the details. All right. I know this is a little heavy session, but I would suggest you try this, and I request you to create a folder with your name in the assignments and place your assignment whatever you've done till now over there. All right. If you don't have access, just click on the link. I will give you access that time. Alrighty then. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.